so much, Tanuja and Renakananda, for those beautiful and heartfelt bhajans. And thank you for everyone for joining for the second day of Swami Shantanandaji's discourse on Shiva Mahimna Stotra. Swamiji gave just a brilliant introduction yesterday to some of the powerful meaning behind this stotram, and humbly request Swamiji to begin the second day of these discourses. Hari Om, Swamiji.
Shri Ganeshaya Namaha, Shri Saraswati Namaha, Shri Satgurubhyo Namaha. Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Satgurum Brahmavidvaram Manojavam Marutatulya Begam Jitendriyam Buddhimatam Varishtam Vatatmajam Vanarayutamukhyam Sri Ramadutam Sirasa Namami. Santoshini Jagannata Mama Saubhagya Vruddhaye Namaskaromi Bhaktya Tvam Prasanna Varada Bhava. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Gridau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha. Om Namah Pranavarthaya Shuddha Jnanaiga Murtaye Nirmalaya Prashandaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Satchitanandarupaya Vishwotpattyadihetave Tapatraya Vinashaya Shri Krishnaya Vayam Namaha. Nilambujasyamalakomalangam Sita Samaropita Vamabhagam Panau Mahasayaka Charuchapam Namami Ramam Raghuvamshanatham. So yesterday we have seen the author Pushpadanda, a Gandharva, indirectly praises Lord Shiva, that your glories are beyond words, and such glories even Brahmaji and Brihaspati were not able to express in words. Even then they have sung your glories. Therefore, my singing these hymns, there is no blame, there is no problem, there is no harm. So in this way, he has sung Bhagavan praise. I saw the background also yesterday. So we have seen up to 5, I think, 5 or 6?
6.
6, okay, very good. So Suresh, can we chant this from the beginning and everybody will get into the mood?
Yes, Swamiji.
Sing the next one also, 7th one. So, Pushpadanta, the author says, people try to take different paths. Some like to take winding path, some like to take straight path. It is all depend upon their ruchi. Ruchina vaichitrya, their temperament. Now it is said from Los Angeles to California, there is a straight road, Route 1, Route 5. And there is a 101 also. It goes along the sea. All winding road. It takes a long time to reach. But that Route 5, it reaches faster. It is a mountainous road, straight road. But people like to take the oceanic view is there. They like to drive that. Like that, in spiritual path also, people take different paths. So here he has listed a few of them. There are various systems like that, which is given in our Vedas also. One is Sankhya. Sankhya Yoga is given by Kapila. And there are two Sankhyas. One is Nirishwara Sankhya, another is Saishwara Sankhya. That one Sankhya, their philosophy, they believe in the presence of Lord, but the other one doesn't believe in the presence of Lord. That is Sankhya Yoga. Then Patanjali, the Ashtanga Yoga. Then Pashupatamatam, that is Shaivites, Kashmiri Shaivites. So Shaivism is another sect of religion in Hinduism. People who believe Lord Shiva alone is the highest. That is Shaivites. And then there is Vaishnavites, where Vishnu alone is supreme. In this way, the people have got different path they choose. And our Pushpadanta said, these are all because of their taste. Each one like certain God, and they choose that path. This freedom is given in our religion. This is the greatness of our religion. Hinduism is a large-hearted religion. it allows you a lot of freedom. And our rishis have studied our psychology, and they have understood our limitations. And according to our temperament, we like to choose gods also. You say there's only one God and you take it or leave it, people get disappointed. But here we are given freedom to choose different gods. So actually our religion has served us like a buffet of gods. You can choose. Suppose you go to a buffet dinner. If there are only one item or two items, you will be disappointed. Or you are invited for a party to a rich man's house, and that person serves only patla kichadi and pappad, then you will be very much disappointed. You at least expect some 10 or 20 items. Then you can choose. So here also, our mother religion, Hinduism, she is very liberal, and not only that, large-hearted and rich in herself. And she has provided us varieties to choose. And that is why our gods are also different. Sattvic God, Rajasic God, Tamasic God, and all that you can see. Most of the Sattvic gods are well-dressed, beautiful looking, handsome, and very attractive looking. These are all Sattvic type of gods. Rajasic type of gods, very, muscly and, very powerful looking. And the tamasic type of gods are the one creates a fear in your mind. The moment you look at it, you are afraid. And that fear is necessary for tamasic type of mind to feel there is some God, some power beyond them. So these are the method of attracting the mind of people. So that is why Ruchinam Vaichitriam, because of different ruchis, different temperament, people choose different gods. And then finally he said, Ranam Eka Gamyat Tomasi Vayasamarnavaiva. It is something like all the Akashat Patitam Toyam Yata Gachati Sagaram Sarvadeva Namaskaraha Keshavam Pratigachati. It is something like from the ocean, the waters evaporate and become clouds and then fall down in the mountains as rain. And those rain waters become small rivulets and then become stream, then become river, and finally reach the ocean alone, for the source from where it has come. The same way, whatever be your method of prayer, whatever be your method of worship, finally it reaches Bhagavan, you only. It reaches you only. That is why, eko gamyate tumasi parasa payasa marnavajiva. It reaches you only finally. So it doesn't matter what way you worship, whom you worship. Don't worry. I am a Shiva Bhakta. I should not go to the what we call Vishnu, Vaishnava gods. I should not worship. If you read Vishnu Sahasranama, there is Shiva's name also there. And if you read Shiva Sahasranama, Vishnu's name also there. So like people who are these Vaishnavites, they don't chant Shiva name. But that means what? You are chanting only 999, not 1000. So this kind of, these are all silly, small childishness. Bhagavan is one, and you can worship him in any form. Whatever form that suits you, attracts you, you can choose that. Bhagavan will accept it. It will reach him only. Continuing. Now, Bhagavan See, he is the Lord of the whole universe. He can have anything that he wants. But how does he live? That is given here, so beautiful. You have a vehicle, an old bull, Mahotsha, old bull. See, he could have had Pushpa Vimanam. And like Ravana had Pushpa Vimanam. Pushpa Vimanam was such a one, how many people sit? Still there will be one seat vacant, it seems. So when Bhagavan Ramchandraji was coming from Lanka to Ayodhya, he wanted to come the next day. You have to reach because Bharata was anxiously waiting for. He also made a promise from him. If you don't reach on time, I will kill myself. Bhagavan knew this. So how to reach? So Vibhishana suggested, take this Pushpa Viman. And Bhagavan took that. He got in. Sitaji got in. Lakshmana also got in. Then Ramchandraji also got in. And there was one seat vacant. And Hanumanji was looking. Okay, Hanumanji came. Then again one seat was vacant. Then Vibhishana came. Then again one seat was vacant. So then Sugriva came. Then Angada wanted to go. Like this, everybody got it. But still there is one seat vacant. So Vibhishana said, this is the nature of this Pushpa Viman. And he finally flew and came. Like that, Bhagavan Shivji, it was Vaishravana's. Originally, it belonged to Kubera. And Kubera is a friend of Bhagavan. So he could have had that like that Pushpa Vimanam for his travel. But he never uses that. He uses only what? A bull. Bull stands for dharma in our Shastra. So righteousness. Bhagavan rides on righteousness means if you practice dharma, you will be able to attain Bhagavan. That's the idea, dharma. Khatvangam, a wooden club. So that old cot, from the old cot, he pulled the, leg, one of the leg. And that is one of the weapon that he used to kill one Rakshasa. And Parashu. Parashu is an axe. And what does he wear? Tiger skin. Parashum, Ajinam, Basma Phaninaha. And what he wear on his body, not perfumes or anything. What is that? Basmam, Chita Bhasmam. So to indicate that finally, this body that you are decorating so much, taking care of so much, will become what? Ashes. So this is what is Bhagavan is telling us. Basma Phaninaha. And again, he is wearing the snake. So Kapalam Chetiyaha Tava Varada Tantropakaranam. And not only that, he wear a garland of human skull. It is that a human being who has performed tapas, Kora tapas, and attained so much of punya, when he dies, his skull will go to Bhagavan, it seems. So he get promoted. See, even after death also, your skull get promoted. That promoted skull is the one that he is wearing, it seems. Tantro, the kapalam chetiyaha. So Phaninaha, the snakes. Snake stands for, in our culture, symbolically means ego, ahankara. The one who has conquered ahankara. When you conquer ahankara, then what happened? Ahankara become an ornament for you. So without ahankara, you cannot live also. Even Jivan Mukta Purushas also, they have to conduct in this world. Without ahankara is not possible. But the ahankara doesn't have the fangs, the poison. That poison is removed. The fangs are removed. The snake's fangs are removed. So then the very snake become an ornament. That is the idea here. Phaninaha kapalam cheti yat tapavarta tantropakaranam. And you are the Surastam tamrityam datati bhavat bru pranihitam. See, one bru in Sanskrit, bru in English also say eyebrow. So bru means eyebrow. So bru, one look, the corner of your eyes, just an indication that is enough to make your devotees rich like Kubera. One glance, kataksha karna kanta. So one kataksha, that is enough. That is enough to give plenty to your devotees. His swatma ramam vishayam mrga trishna brahmayati. And at the same time, you are Satma Ramaha, the one who revels in oneself and revels in the bliss of oneself, and who has discovered the joy is within oneself. And that Lord, Vishaya Mrgatrishna Pramayati, he is not interested in reveling in this Vishaya Mrgatrishna. Vishaya, all the objects in this world, he is like nothing but like a mirage water. Mrgatrishna means mirage water. Like a mirage water, it has no real existence. It has only an apparent appearance. And that appearance, he has no interest. The one who reveled or discovered his joy within oneself, Atma Ramaha, and to that person, all these things are not attractive. What kind of car you drive, it becomes a problem. And what kind of dress you wear, that becomes an issue. And most of the time we are not doing for ourselves. It is for the society's sake, community's sake, the people, peers' sake. So for their sake, we are having so much big house, bungalow, that and this, everything. It is to show off. And why? Because we think that these happiness, people, we are depending upon our happiness in the people's tongues. It is very unfortunate. But whereas Bhagavan, he is the one who discovered happiness within himself. He is not depending upon the world to make him happy. So such a person, what he wears, how he conducts himself, it doesn't matter to him. So even though he has everything, but he lives a simple life. So this is an example for all renunciate Mahatmas, great saints and sages. They should emulate Bhagavan Shivji. Continuing. And there are different views of people in this world about the reality. Bhagavan is, some say it is eternal, some ephemeral, yet others hold it is perishable in parts. These are all different schools of thoughts. Say Karma Kantin say there is no God. They don't believe in karma phala thata. So when you perform a ritual properly with mantras, the result will come automatically. There is no a particular God sitting there and dispensing the results. So that's why our Ramana Maharshi said, Kartuhu Atneya Prapyate Phalam Karma Kim Param Karma Tajjatam Kriti Mahodato Patana Karanam Phalama Shashyatam Gati Nirothakam. So that kartuhu atneya phalam prapyate. Param jadam karma param kim bhavati. So how can jadam karma, that inert karma, can take you to the param supreme? How is it possible? Unless all the karmas that you perform, the karma phala dhata, the one who gives result, is Paramatma. Paramatma means indirectly the nature is giving, the law of nature is the one that gives you result. And that law, if there is a law, there must be a lawmaker also. And that is the Lord. So there are people who believe there is no God. It's not necessary to have a God. Communists think that there is no God. So like that, there are so many schools of thought. Before communists also, in our system, there were schools of thought who never believed in God also. It is not something new. So like that, there are so many people are there. Their views are always something that is bewildering to me. Pushpadanta says, some say it is eternal, some say it is ephemeral, some say there are perishable parts, and there are but imperishable in whole. Like that, there are Kshanika Vijnanavadis are there. There are Vaisheshikas are there. There are Naiyayikas are there. They think that the whole the objective world in this world is a combination of particles, and these particles joined in certain proportion, and consciousness is an after effect of the particular combination. They give example also. It is something like when you eat pan, like Banarsi pan and all the different pans are there. So simple sweet pan, you take it. There is a bitter leaf and the areca nut and then chunna, the lime. So all this put together and then you eat. Then what happened? A fourth things come out. The fourth thing is the red color. The same way, when you combine the particles and finally, as a result of this combination, is consciousness. They say consciousness is an effect, it is not a cause. So this theory is there. Some of the schools of thoughts are there. That is what is mentioning here. So these are all impossible. How can, without the inert matter, how can it combine on its own? Unless there is sentiency. Without sentiency, it cannot move. And who decide the proportion also? There are certain proportion in which it has to be combined, and who decide the proportion? And how can they get that movement, ability to move? That ability to move is the one that is behind the whole thing, that is Paramatma. And that is what we have to discover. So this is people who are ignorant, people who are not thinking rightly, though they conclude like this. Samaste pedasmin puramathanatair vismita iva. I just praise you. It doesn't matter to me. I am a bhakta. I am not interested in all these different views. I am a devotee of yours, Pushpadanta says. I am a devotee. I am not interested in all these things. I just praise you. That's it. And I may not be what I am talking like this. Don't consider, don't take it. I am very talkative. So please don't take me. I am talkative. So excuse me. So he says, forgive me that I am talking too much. So this is the way he expresses here. So stuvat jihve mitvam nakalu nanu krishta makarata. Now, next verse onwards, Pushpadanta start telling stories. That is Shiva Purana. So many stories are there from Shiva Purana. And the way he expresses the story is also differently. It is not like simple stories telling. He also tells in a very humorous way. So the next story is about Bhagwan's Linga Avatara. So that is the next one. Continue. Now, I'll tell you the story, then it will fit in the right place, the verses. It is believed that Shivaratri night, a column of fire, a luminous fire column appeared in cylindrical form. Lingodbhavakara Bhagavan. Bhagavan that is the day he appeared in the form of a linga. Linga here means cylindrical form. And Brahmaji and Vishnu both looked at it. They were wonderstruck. What is this? They didn't know what it is. And Brahmaji said, I will go up, find out from where it ends. And you, Vishnu, you have taken avatar of a boar, so you can go out, go down. You can dug up and go and find out where it starts. The beginning, you find out, I will find out the end. So Brahmaji went up on his swan. He flew up, and he flew up and up and up and up, and he was not able to find. And Bhagavan Vishnu also dug up, and he went down and down and down. He was not able to find the beginning of it. He came back. And by the time, what happened to Brahmaji? Brahmaji thought that if I go back, Vishnu must have found out already the beginning. Now suppose I go back without finding the end. It doesn't look good on me. So what should I do? At that time, there was a flower coming. And he asked, from where are you coming? The flower said, I am coming for the hair of my Lord. Okay, he caught hold of that flower. And he said, you have to tell that I have seen the end of this column. And flower said, okay. So he became witness. And then both came and met. Vishnu Bhagavan said, honestly, I could not find the beginning and the beginning of this column. What about you? Did you find it? Mahajara, yes, I found out. See, this is the proof. Now, when Brahmaji told this lie, Bhagavan, which Shivji was angry, he suddenly appeared before them. And then he said, Brahmaji, you just set a lie, just that you saw my end. Therefore, you are cursed. There will not be any temple of worship for you. That's why Brahmaji doesn't have any temple. Except in, in Thailand, I think there is a temple dedicated to Brahmaji. And in India also, there is one place, Pushkar, there is a temple of Brahmaji. Otherwise, Brahmaji is not worshipped. This is the reason. That particular flower also is not used for worship. And I don't know the English name for that flower. In Tamil, Malayalam, they say Arali. It's a white flower with the yellow in the center. So that's why Tavaishwaryam Yatnat Yadupari Viranjir Haraditha. So that is why it appeared in the Shivaratri day. That is why Shivaratri is worshipped. That is one Aitihyam according to one Purana. Another Purana, Shivaratri is the day Parvati Parameshwara got married. That is also another Aitihyam. And the Parichetum Yata Anala Manala Skanda Vapushaha. So they try to measure. So that fire, Analam in fire, it was a column of fire. They tried to measure Analam, that their effort was not enough. Girisha Tato Bhakti Shraddha Bharaguru Granadbhyang Girishayate. Then they both praised you with devotion and faith. And when they could not find your end or beginning, and they start praising you with bhakti, devotion, hey Girisha. Girisha means the Lord of mountain, the dweller of on the mountain. Then you reveal yourself before them. That is why Pushpadanta says they praised you with devotion, both of them. And then you appeared before them. And can submission to you ever fail? Swayam taste tabhyam tava kimanu virtir napalati. That's why Bhagavan Shivaji is considered Ashutosh Bhagavan. See, Chipra Kopam, Chipra Prasadi also. So he is very easy to be pleased. Vishnu, Lord Vishnu, Krishna, etc., they will test, Bhagavan will test the devotees in many ways. He will not give darshan that easily, but Shiva Bhagavan is so easy to be pleased. He gives darshan to you very easily, very fast, especially in Kali Yuga. Now, in the next following two verses are spent for the story of Ravana. See, 2 verses are there. Now, let us chant it together, 2 verses, 11 and 12 together. Ayatnat asadyat tribhuvanam avairav vyatikaram. Effortlessly, easily, with the blessings of Bhagavan Shivaji, Ravana was able to conquer all 3 worlds. Ayatnas, effortlessly. He was able to do that. And Dashasyo yat bahun naprata rana kandu paravashan. Then he stood up with arms raised in eagerness for further fight. Kandu means itching, itching for fight. So if you have a body itching somewhere, you are scratching at that same, you can use the word kandu or I. It's a new word you can use. People will be wondering what is it. So kandu means itching, itching for a fight, because he has so much of power and there is nobody to fight with. Nobody is equivalent to him. So he was feeling miserable that I am not able to use my power against an equivalent enemy. And he could only use his power. Equivalent to him was Rama. Only Rama Ravana Yuddham. According to our the Ramayana, he took about 18 days. He fought with Rama. That fight was single-handedly. He was fighting with Ramchandraji. Both were 1-to-1. Fighting was terrible. And he was able to manage himself so many days with Rama. Bhagavan also was playing with him, give him enough time to exhaust his vasanas. So, Deshasyo yat bahu namrutarana kandu paravashan Sirap Padma Shreni Rachita Charanamboruha Balehi. Now, what did he do? This Ravana was not an ordinary person. So he saw this Ravana, Kumbhakarna, Vibhishana. All the three brothers sat in meditation to propitiate Lord. And Vibhishana was able to meditate easily. Kumbhakarna was also meditating. And Ravana is a rajasic person. He tried to concentrate. He tried to close his eyes, tried to control his mind. He was not able to do it. So he thought that, what is the point just sitting there and meditating? I will cut off my head and offer it. Now think about it. So now the cut off the head and offering is not an easy task. Think about it, even cutting our hair in Tirupati. So people go to Tirupati and offer their hair. That itself is a great sacrifice. And when they see these people cutting off their hair, they will say, okay, not next time. Next time they'll put some money in the hundi and come back. So much of time. That's why Tirupati barber is a very famous thing. Tirupati barber is, it is a very interesting story. Somebody told me. Barber sees so many people, customers, standing there. Now he doesn't want to lose anyone. So he asked them to sit down in a line. And then he put water on everybody and then take little bit of everybody's head. Then what happened? They can't run away. So the customer is safe. So he will get the business. He will not lose business. So, and people who see this, they don't want to look at themselves in that condition. So they leave. So even to give hair, we hesitate. What to talk about cutting head? It is not easy. But Ravana was able to do it. So he did not only one time, 9 times. And the 10th time when he was about to cut, Bhagavan appeared and blessed him. Siraya Tvat Bhakte Tripurahara Vispurti Jidamidam. You express one. So he offered his head like a string of lotuses at your feet. And as a result of that, he was able to become the master or the king, the overlord of the 3 worlds. And he became so powerful that nobody was a match to him in the battlefield. So that was the thing. Then what happened to him was, he was so powerful and haughty. He was a great bhakta of Lord Shiva. There is no doubt about it. And one day he thought that, let me take Kailas to Sri Lanka. His hands were so powerful. He wanted to lift the whole Kailas Parvat and take to Sri Lanka. Why every time? Because Sri Lanka to Kailas to come and visit Lord Shiva, it is a long way. So every day making visit is too much for him. So he said, I will take Kailas to Lanka. So he lifted it. Then he realized. And Bhagavan was not worried about it. Okay, if you want to take me there, let him take. But Parvati did not allow. How dare he? So then Bhagavan just put his little toe, just press the little toe. And one version of the story is that he was lifting and then all his 20 hands, Bhagavan pressed that. What happened? It crushed him. That mountain fell on him and he fell down, crushed under the weight of the mountain. And then Ravana realized his mistake and he tore open his stomach and took out the bladder, this thing, and strings, those, what do you call it? and made a veena out of it, it seems. And then he composed. He was instant kavi also. He composed. That's why Shiva, Lord Shiva, he has composed a song, and it is also very interesting composition. It is like Ravana only. You know, thana, 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 that kind of language it is. And he was a Samavedi. Bhagwan was pleased, and he came and gave him another weapon. Chandrahas was given to him. And that is, you know, in Kerala, there is one art called Kudiyattam. And there, there the particular story, they say in a very different way. In a very, very humorous way, they say the story. And Ravana was lifting this, at that time, this Parvati was complaining about Lord Shiva. About what? Lord Shiva's hair, this Gangaji is there. So Parvati was telling, oh Lord, in your hair, it looks like you have another lady there. I said, no, 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 it is a river. Then how come I see two eyes? He said, no, no, it is not eyes, it is a fishes. No. You are seeing the fishes. Like this, one by one, she asks, he gives answer. Then she gets frustrated. Everything I ask, you have an answer. I know you are hiding another lady there. This is not fair. I am going home to my father's house. So she was about to leave. At that time, what happened? This Ravana lifted this mountain. And it lifted, the whole thing became imbalanced. And she came back running and held on to Lord Shiva. And that is why Lord Shiva was very happy to Ravana. You gave back my wife. You returned my wife to me. So he was very happy, it seems. That's why he blessed him with this Chandrahasa, it seems. Anyway, so, but here Pushpadanta says in a different way. This Ravana is also very, you know, his crookedness. There is another story about him that this Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara. So they, after lunch, they take little rest. At that time, Parvati, Lakshmi and Saraswati, they will have a meeting. When the husbands who are taking rest, these wives will have their own meeting. And that is the time they play cards and exchange notes and what their husband did, what their devotees of their husband did, all those notes they will exchange. One day, this was going on. Saraswati looked at Parvati and said, Parvati, see, you have two children. Shadanan, Gajanan. Now, you are sitting under a tree. You don't have a house. Whereas look at Vishnu Bhagavan Vaikunta, it is like 5-star. What 5-star? All-star hotel, like facilities. And Brahmaji also, the facilities are high. Whereas you under a tree. Now, you are under a tree, your husband is under a tree, and children also under a tree. There is no protection. There is no shelter. You can't invite people for a party also. Now, we are ashamed to come to your house where we will sit under a tree. And your husband is the one who blesses people to go to heaven. And Brahmaji is tired of expanding heaven. Oh, Parvati got really angry. She came immediately halfway through the party. And at that time, Bhagavan was sleeping. So woke him up. Get up now. What happened now? He said, I want a house. Parvati, apna nasib mein nahi hai. It is not in our fate. under the trees, fine for us. No, 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 I want a house. So immediately Bhagavan called Vishwakarma, the heavenly architect. The architect came and Parvati gave a detailed description of what type of house he wants. And he built it in no time because Vishwakarma has got a divine power. So he built it all beautiful house. Now, before entering the house, Griha Pravesham, you have to do Vastu Shanti and all that. So Bhagavan said, now whom we should call? We should call my devotee Ravana. He is a Brahmana and he is also the Samavedi. So he is a great ritualist also. Let us call him. Ravana came, he immediately accepted invitation. He came, he performed the puja, Vastu Shanti, everything. And then Bhagavan asked, what dakshina you want? And Ravana said, Bhagavan, this house I want. Now, Bhagavan looked at Parvati. Look at this, you wanted a house, now it has gone to Ravana now. So this is Ravana's Dushtada is what is shown there. Bhagavan's Udarata is also, you can see there. So, here the Pushpadanta says that when he lifted the Kailasa, Bhagavan just with the toe, he just pressed and threw him out of balance. And this Ravana could not take shelter anywhere in the world. So he did not get a place anywhere, even in the netherland, netherworld. So that is what happened to people who become wicked. People go berserk indeed on gaining some power. So when they get some little power, they even forget the source from where they got this power. Continuing. That is Ravana. Next one. Next one is another story of Banasura. Banasura was, the story comes in Bhagavata also. Banasura was a great devotee of Bhagavan Shivaji. He is the grandson of Mahabali, Banasura. And this Banasura, see, Asuric tendency is what we have to understand from this. He performed Ghora Tapas and propitiate the Lord. But what does he ask? What did he ask? He asked Lord Shiva to take charge of his protection. Think about it. Lord Shiva should protect me. Lord Shiva become Chaukidar for him. Look at this. Instead of asking all what you call blessed moksha or something like that, instead of asking liberation moksha, instead of asking the devotion to the feet of Lord, etc., this is called Sattvic people ask. But Rakshasas, what they want? Power. And Bhagavan was pleased with him and he blessed him with 1,000 arms. And with that 1,000 arms power, endowed with that power, he went and conquered the whole world. And nobody there to equivalent to him to fight. Like Ravana, he was itching for a fight. And the whole world obeyed him. And finally he went, because he was itching for a fight, nobody to fight with him. So therefore, finally he went to Bhagwan Shivji himself and said, Bhagwan, it looks like there's nobody to fight with. What is the point having so much of power and I can't even show it? It looks like you are the only one who can fight with me. So give me a fight. Look at this. So he want to fight with Lord Shiva himself. And Bhagwan got angry. Fool, you want to fight with me? I will give you a chance. In Krishnavatara, Bhagwan Krishna will come and he will give you a good fight. And how do I know that he is going to come? He said, your flag post will fall. Then you know that he is going to come. And in Dwapara Yuga, this Banasura had one daughter, Usha. Usha had a dream one day. She dreamt Aniruddha, Lord Krishna's grandson. Lord Krishna's son is Pradyumna, and Pradyumna's son is Aniruddha. Aniruddha was a great warrior. And when she saw him in her dream. And this Usha had a friend, Chitralekha. And Chitralekha had magical powers. And she started drawing pictures. She described the description of the person she dreamt in the dream. And she started drawing pictures of famous people. Finally, she drew a picture of Krishna. Then Pradyumna. Then she said, exactly same but younger. So she understood it is Aniruddha. She drew the picture of Aniruddha. And Usha said, yes. And the Chitralekha had this magical power. She went overnight and lifted Aniruddha by the cot, the bed in which she was sleeping. Along with the bed, she lifted him and brought him to the bed chambers of Usha. And Aniruddha got up in the morning and this Usha was looking at him. He said, where am I? And he was surprised and she informed him, this is what happened. I am in love with you, so you have to marry me. So according to Gandharva rites, they got married. And he started living there in the bedroom. In her quarters, this is a big palace, it's a king's palace, it's a big palace, so her quarters. And her father started noticing some change in her. She is always happy. And then she never come out. Everything is room service, like breakfast, lunch, dinner, or room service. So they were doubting, what is this? She doesn't come out. She doesn't mingle with anybody. What is happening? So one day he gave a surprise visit. At that time, he was caught. She was playing with Aniruddha. Immediately there was a fight. Aniruddha was not an ordinary soldier. He also fought with Banasura. But Banasura was completely superior to him. Therefore, he defeated him and imprisoned him. This news, Narada went and told Krishna in Dwaraka. Because Narada went and told Krishna, do you know what happened to your children? Because Bhagwan Krishna had 16,008 wives. Each one of them had 10 children. Now think about the number of children. Now who can keep a track of who is where, what? Now to remember their name itself is very difficult. And look at this in Bhagavatam, Sukha Maharshi remembers their name. That is surprising. Now, then Bhagavan said, okay, tell me where he is. So Narada informed that Aniruddha was taken by Chitralekha and he was imprisoned by this Banasura. Bhagavan said, okay, let us go. So Balrama and him, both of them took the special chariot and then divine chariot they took and then flew immediately and then fought with the Banasura. And during the fight, Banasura got this indication that his flag post fell down. So he was very happy. Now I can fight with somebody. He was not afraid. He was very happy that I can fight. And in that fight, there is a beautiful description in Bhagavatam that even Bhagavan Shivji came to fight with Krishna. And Ganesha came to fight. And then Subramanya came to fight with Pradyumna, etc. So, but they were all defeated. And Lord Krishna said, you are my friend, but I had to defeat you. So finally, Lord Shiva gave up. That I leave it to your fate. I can't help you. And Bhagavan Krishna gave him a good fight. And with the chakram, he cut off all his hands except one pair. And then he was about to cut off his head. At that time, Lord Shiva came and told him, he's my devotee, please spare it. Bhagavan said, yes, I want to give him a lesson. I'm not going to kill him, but I have gave promise to Bali, Mahabali also. I will not kill 7 generations of his people. So therefore, he will not be killed. And plus, he is going to be my in-laws, my grandson's daughter is, my grandson, he is getting married to his daughter. Therefore, they are sambandhis. So I cannot kill him also. Next is Bhagavan joke. So that is the story here that Pushpadanda tells in a different way. The Bana yat pruddhim sutramno varata paramochai rabisatim atat chakre bana parijana videyat tribhuvanaha. Bana had the universe obey him. He made the great wealth of Indra look small. O giver of boons, all this is no wonder at all. For Bana was a worshipper of your feet. What nakasya unnate bhavati shirastat toyavanati. What prosperity cannot result from devotion to you? Bowing down to you, one rises in life. That's a very beautiful way of saying. Bowing down to you, one rises in life. Yes. Next story is Palari Mathanam. How Bhagavan got the blue neck. So that is the story. We shall see that tomorrow. Today is time up now. Any announcement you have to make?
Thank you, Swamiji. Just briefly, remember to join us tomorrow again at the same time for the 3rd of the 4 installments of Swamiji's brilliant discourses. One of the most beautiful traditions in our Vedic tradition is the practice of Guru Dakshina. So as you listen to Swamiji's discourses today and then the next couple of days, I'd ask everyone to just think about providing whatever they think is appropriate given the knowledge that Swamiji is able to give to us. Chinmay Mission is blessed with so many brilliant Swamijis like Swami Shantananda Ji, and it's really our privilege to be able to listen to such discourses. And so there'll be a link in the chat box today and then in the next couple of days. And please, we can never give back enough So please give whatever you think is appropriate. Otherwise, we'll see everyone tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.